Hi everyone, welcome to the first Preplaced podcast. And today we have with us a very special guest. We have with us Bhavana. She is a product manager at bigbasket. And for those of you who are aiming for product management roles, you have to listen to this. So without further ado, let's get started. Thank you, Bhavana, for joining us today. Uh, you have worked in a plethora of uh, fields and a lot of companies, right? So you have worked as a software engineer, and then you have transitioned to a product management role. So the journey must have been quite amazing, right?
Hi, Shumik. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I mean, to be frank, it's been very, very exciting. Okay, and I would say it was the best thing that
Mhm.
could ever happen in my career. That I could transition from a software QA engineer to a product manager. So yeah, it's been really good, and I
Awesome.
just completed like 5 years now.
No, so I think most of the viewers would like to know. I'm sure there are a lot of people right now who are software engineers or in other roles, and they want to become product managers. So just wanted to know your perspective. How was the transition? Like how did you prepare for it, and how did you get to that position?
Okay, yeah. Sure, I can answer that. So, I mean, to be frank, I had no clue what product management meant. Okay, I don't even know what a product manager would do when I actually joined the product team. Okay, so
Sure.
how the transition happened. Okay, so generally the
Hmm.
perception of a product manager is okay. He has a computer science engineering background and he has an MBA, right? So that is like the
Correct.
perfect combination you can expect for a product manager. But
Yep.
unfortunately, I did not have either of it. Okay, so I did some electronics engineering and I don't even have an MBA. Okay. So what worked
Oh.
for me was that I was very strong technically. Okay. Because I had
Okay.
I had that QA experience, the software testing experience for over 2.5 years. Okay. So
Okay.
I like to know a product manager needs to be good at three main things, right? So you would have seen that classic Venn diagram where they show that a product manager needs to know business, he needs to know the tech part of it, and he also needs to know the design part of it, right? So
Correct.
yeah, but to be frank, when I transitioned, I was only good at one thing. I was only good from a technical perspective, right? So as
Hmm. Yeah.
an engineer transitioning into PM, I think the technical part was easy for me because I knew all of it, but the design part of it, right? So I had no clue about it. Like how should a product look like? Where should a button be placed for, right? So these are the things which I had to learn eventually, right? So of course there are many books
Yeah.
which you can read, and it has definitely helped me. So just to take few examples, I would say you should definitely read the design of everyday things. It is very simple, and you will really like it. Okay, you will start seeing all the things around you also from a very different perspective once you read it, and
Correct.
yeah, and you will start developing that product thinking mindset. Okay, so it's really
Yeah,
good.
I was reading that book, and it. They were talking about doors at some point, how the design of
Yes,
doors are made, and now I can't look at doors the same way. Uh,
yes.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. I also like one example, which is of the stove. Okay. Like when you
yeah,
have four stoves, four burners in a stove. So where
yeah.
should the knobs be placed? Okay. It's a very, very
Correct.
interesting example. So, so yeah, I mean, as an engineer, I had to develop two more important skills, which was the design thinking part of it, and the other one was
Yeah,
the business side of things. Right? It was
yeah.
very, very different for me, like how others think, and I used to think more from a tech perspective. Oh, this feature is difficult to do. This feature is easy to
Yes.
do. Right? So, but
Yep.
it's not just that. You have to think about what is that the feature is going to give you, like how much money will it save, or how many more customers will you get from it, correct?
Correct. Correct.
So that was from the engineer's point of view. But I'll tell you, if at all you have an MBA, I mean, the person who is listening to this, if at all you've done engineering and you have an MBA, then trust me, you have a very, very good chance. Okay, because you already know the business side of things. And I'm sure you would have done
Yeah.
like hundreds of presentations. And trust me, all of that is going to do wonders for you. Right? Because I mean, even now, I spend like hours together to make a presentation, but I'm sure MBA folks would have like they'll be able to do presentations within like few minutes. So yeah, in MBA, if you're
Mhm.
to have an MBA with you, I would say focus more on knowing the technical side of things, right? So I mean, what I mean is okay, like basic things, which is like okay, whether like what is an API and what are the things that will come from server, what are the things that will be coming from the client side, right? So these are the simple technical things I would recommend you to know. And of course, if at all you've already read some books related to designs, then it is definitely going to help you. And one more book which I would recommend is the Hooked book from Niraya.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
highly recommend that. So that has really helped. Shamik. I mean, it can help you clear product management interviews. So I would highly recommend that.
Yeah, and after reading Hooked, like I realized that we are being controlled by this WhatsApp, Facebook, and every tech product, and we are not even aware of it. So yeah, it's a really eye-opening book.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, to conclude on that answer, I would say the
mhm.
transition happened because of two things. Okay, so one is I used to pay a lot of attention. Okay, so
Okay.
so whenever when I was a QA and whenever a product manager is giving me the walkthrough of that feature, right? So uh, and I had to write the test cases for it as a QA engineer. So what I used to do was I just did not go with whatever was written with the in the product spec. So I used to think beyond. Okay, like what are the things that probably is missing in the spec, which I could think of. So that's how I started suggesting those minor enhancements to the product manager. That hey, probably did we miss this, or can we add this also? Right, so these are the things, like if you can pay that attention, like so much attention to the product which is being like developed, if you can do that, then trust me, that is what will take you a long way, right? Because and I'll tell you how it happened. So
Correct. Yeah.
there was an opening at the time in product management team, and I used to work with the head of product in front end team. She's Tanu, my ex manager. So she gave me this wonderful opportunity. So because and that was merely because I used to suggest a lot of enhancements. Okay, so whenever you have any idea, okay, forget being product manager or project manager or engineer. Whenever you have any suggestions to the product, always go forward and put it across. Okay, maybe you may think, oh, this is very simple, maybe I don't have to say it, maybe I will look very stupid if I say that. Trust me, that's not the case. Okay, whatever it is, be it a small idea or a big idea, always go forward and put it across, and trust me, it will take you a very, very long way. So yeah, that's the
Correct. Agreed. Yeah, so just wanted to go back on the design thing.
yeah.
Like, I think I come from an engineering background, and I
Hmm.
think lots of engineers think this way that if we make a very complicated code or very high performant code or whatever, so it'll be good for the business, but which might not be the case for reality. Like the reality might require a very simple design, a very simple solution. So, how does someone who is in technology go about thinking through design? Like, is reading books enough, or do they need to be practically, experiment or something like that?
See, okay. So you're saying how can an engineer develop the design thinking mindset? Is that your question, Shamik?
Yes, yes. Apart from reading books, is there any other way to do that?
Right. So, right. Apart from reading books, I mean, reading books is more for theory, of course, right? So, ultimately, if at all you want to make all of that, I mean, whatever you've learned, if at all you want to put it in reality, you will have to work with designers, right? So, it could be suggesting
Correct.
simple things. Okay. I mean, of course, no product is perfect at the beginning, right? I think the design of a product keeps changing at least 10 times until, like, from the beginning till the end, I think it changes at least like 5 to 6 times. So I would say, as an
Yes,
engineer
yes.
also, if at all you can be part of that design walkthroughs, right? So of course the PM or the designer will show those wireframes, and they will ask for feedback. So I would say, be very attentive there. See what you can think from that design thinking perspective, and suggest changes, right? So many times, I'll tell you, even at Big Basket, many times engineers have suggested few things and we have incorporated it, though it was very late in the product cycle. Engineers have been able to suggest a lot of good things, and we have incorporated that as part of product. So I would say, whatever you've learned, just put those idea forward, discuss it with designers, suggest them, and trust me, it will work for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, that answers that question very well. Uh, so coming to the business part of you, so suppose someone who doesn't have an MBA, how do they go about learning the business aspects?
Right, right. So I am that live example, because I never saw it from
Yeah,
a
sure.
business side of things. Okay, so I'll tell you how it started for me. In the initial few months, right? Because I came as a QA engineer. Even when I became a product manager, I used to run behind solving bugs. Okay, so more than working
Okay.
on features, I used to work on building solutions to solve those bugs. Okay, so I'll tell you, my manager, she she called me and she said, Bhavna, I understand you're coming from a QA background, but please stop running behind bugs. Okay, bugs are part and parcel of your product, right? So she said that,
Yeah.
start thinking from a business point of view, as in, if you invest your time in solving a bug versus investing your time in, let's say, building a product, for example, improving your search results. Okay, so if
Okay.
you can improve your search results, think about how much more revenue you can bring to the system, right? So maybe today, if at all I search for, let's say, chawal, okay, which is rice in Hindi, maybe we were not
Yeah.
showing the right results, okay? And thinking about grocery in India, I mean, I personally don't even know some names of these green grams and all of that in English, okay? So I would know it
Yeah.
only in Kannada, for that matter. So what you will have to start thinking is, how do you ensure that you are giving the best customer experience on your product, right? That would be your first step.
Correct.
Coming to the business side of things, yeah, that took a lot of time for me. It took more than 6 months. But initially, the way I did it was, I started thinking more from a customer point of view rather than from a technical point of view. So it's like, okay, what is the right thing to do here for the customer, right? And then
Yep.
eventually you will think about, okay, how big or how small is the effort going to be, right? And in between this, while you're learning all of this, you will also understand that, okay, today, today maybe 100 people are coming to the sign up page, and maybe only 50% people are actually signing up, right? Now the other 50% people, where did they go, right? What can you solve there? What is the, like, can you reduce few fields? Can you make few fields non mandatory, right? So this is how you will eventually start thinking about the design perspective, and of course that is going to get you the business thinking, right? That if at all 100 people came and 90% people signed up, then that means you got a lot of customers, right? So eventually that business
Sure.
will happen, but it will take time, Shamik. That's what I would say.
Yes. So your point is, we should always put ourselves in the feet of the customer and then
Right.
see what are the issues which are coming by analyzing a lot of data, and then funnel it to the most important features which we can implement. right?
Exactly. Perfect. Perfect. Yes. Yes. So, if at all,
Yeah.
you can also know. I mean, as an engineer, I think you might know all the SQL part of it, right? Like maybe you have written
Correct.
queries in your engineering journey, like be it your
Yes.
like academics or in the work life. If at all you've written it, then it is
Hmm.
going to give you a very very good push, I would say. And as an MBA graduate, also, if at all uh, if you have any experience with SQL queries, you should definitely put it forward in your resume and in the interview, because that is a very very important skill, and which I
Yeah.
had lacked. So I got into product management, and then I learned all of the SQL. So yeah,
Awesome. I write it down, guys. So SQL is very important.
yeah,
Uh, you have been a part of customer experience, right? For a few years before moving on to supply chain and operations. So, how has that been? Like, can you tell me some of the projects you have worked on, or how was work?
yeah, yeah, absolutely, sure. So, okay, so before I get to the answer, let me just take a minute to explain the difference between customer experience and the supply chain. So, customer
Uh-huh.
experience side of things, what we mean by that, we call it as front end product. Okay. And what it means is that your main app, which you as a customer you're using, right? So, the Big Basket app that you are using to place the orders, right? So, that is called your front end product, where we say that it is the customer experience side of things. But of
Correct.
course, there is a back into this whole e-commerce, right? Which is your supply chain management, correct? So supply chain management, again, it has two things. One is your warehouse part of it, right? Like how many Maggie packets will you store in that warehouse, right? So
Yep.
picking time, correct? Like how much, like for a given order, how long does it take to pick 20 items, right? How can you reduce that picking time? So this is what will come in your warehousing product, right? And similarly, there is the second part of supply chain management, which is your last mile delivery, right? So last mile delivery is basically the journey between the goods from the warehouse to the customer's location. That part is called the last mile delivery. So, I mean, Chamik knows that I transitioned from customer experience to last mile delivery now. So, again, this was very very lucky for me. I have been lucky here again. So I had spent close to 2.5 years in the front end product, and some of the projects which I used to handle there was search, right? So what I mean by search is how do you ensure that you are showing the best results on top whenever user searches for something, right? So
Yep. Correct.
yeah, so if you do that, that means you have good conversion in your search results page. So that was one of the key things that I did. And apart from that, I have handled the transactional communication. So, transactional communication, what I mean by that is like, let's say you have placed an order on Amazon, you will get a lot of emails, SMSs, right? So, that, okay, your order is confirmed, your order is on the way, your order is delivered. So, all of this is part of transaction communication. And I have redesigned all of it at Big Basket. So,
Sure. I wanted to ask you about transactional communication.
sure.
So, especially during the lockdown season, we are all ordering things online, and
Yeah.
Big Basket has been a big part of everyone's lives.
Yeah.
It has helped a lot of people. So, regarding the messages which we get when we place an order,
Yeah.
like I've seen that people usually, just dismiss that notification, just knowing that yeah, it's fine, it's supposed to come, and the email goes to the others folder or something.
Right.
But how does that impact the users, the customer experience on a subconscious level, on a deeper level?
Oh yeah, yeah. It does. I'll tell you. So maybe your order is placed. Maybe it has not a very great impact because you just place the order and you know it, right? So you would have
Yeah.
seen thank you page or something in the app itself, right? So that is
Yeah.
more like, I'll tell you, see, online world, right? It has to imitate the offline world, okay? Be it anything.
Correct.
Okay. So basically, that your order is confirmed, right? It is basically your bill that you get, Shamek, right? So
Yep. Yep.
you go and shop in Big Bazaar, you get a bill, right? So
Yep.
I mean, we don't feel happy seeing a bill or anything, right? So
Yes.
so it is to imitate the offline world, to so that you, at a subconscious level, like you said, what I would say is, we want to carry that same experience of offline to the online world, right? So you might have
Okay.
seen this in Kindle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in Kindle,
Yeah.
you have the bookmark option, right?
Correct.
So again, what is it trying to do? It is trying to imitate your offline world into an online world, right? Instead of placing the bookmark in reality, you're trying to place a bookmark in the Kindle world, right?
Yes, correct. And I think customers sometimes take it for granted. Like when they see your orders on the way, I think people find some sort of reassurance when they see that kind of message,
Yes.
which they don't realize they do. So I think yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yes. So yeah, so one more example that I would like to quote here is, see, you get a message saying that okay, your Mintra order is dispatched and your whatever your Biba kurti is on the way. Okay, so
yeah,
it may be FYI. Okay, but trust me, there is uh, like, I don't know, at least I get happy seeing that message. Okay, it's coming today. I am so happy. Okay, my kurti is here, right? So
absolutely.
yeah. And especially for Amazon, if at all you're ordering some, let's say, some electronics item, then though you have a lot of adrenaline rush for sure, right?
Yes,
So, oh,
correct.
Google Home is arriving. So it's at a subconscious level, I would say, that you would have already known that, okay, it's coming tomorrow. But still seeing that
Yeah.
message, you will feel happy, right?
And it also creates that bond with the product, the brand, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So it's like, okay, you are notified at every stage that okay, it's coming to you, it's coming to you. That's the feeling that we want to give via transactional communication, right? Okay, it's
Yes,
on the
yes,
badge,
absolutely.
it's coming, it's on the way, and all of that. And trust me, in Big Basket, see, of course, in Mintra, it's a very different story where maybe you're very happy about knowing, okay, my kurti is coming. If you think
Yeah.
about Big Basket, there's nothing like that. Oh, my rice is coming. No, that's not the thing,
It's
right?
relief actually. Like, thank God I'll be able to have my lunch today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, that is there. And one very important thing for us is we have slotted deliveries in Big Basket, right? So we
Yes,
say
yes.
we will deliver it between 5 to 7, right? So,
Yeah.
so we want the customer to be aware that okay, we are coming between that 5 to 7 p.m. Please be available, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's not the case with Amazon. You can keep that one packet in somewhere, like give it to the security, right? But you
Correct.
cannot keep this 20 items that you have ordered from Big Basket at the security, right? There is rice,
Correct.
chowder, and something else, right? So
Hmm.
that's the reason that on the way communication is very important for Big Basket also.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And recently, like with the lockdown coming on and everything, you must have seen a huge spike in orders. And how difficult was it to like? How did you adapt to that to the new conditions? To satisfy the customers' needs. Can you tell me about that?
Oh yeah, sure. Actually, the answer to this is definitely going to answer the main question that you asked, that why I
Yeah.
transitioned to last mile delivery. Okay,
Yeah.
so when COVID hit us, right? What
Correct.
happened was the operations went for a toss. Okay, so what
Hmm.
happened was close to I think 10,000 ground staff executives. All of these people they went home. Okay, so basically we did not have anyone to deliver at all. Okay, and the
Okay.
slots were getting closed within a minute. Trust me, within a minute. Okay, let's say the slot for tomorrow morning opened now. Within a minute, it was getting closed. Okay,
Yep.
so now we did a lot of innovation. Okay, so and lot of innovation happened in the back end side of things. Okay. because
Yeah.
in the front end it was very clear. We were seeing the growth. A lot of people started ordering. So what we had to do was to make a lot of innovation in the backend. So it could be a simple things, okay, to like optimize your thinking time. Okay. So some of the essentials, right? Essentials like
Yeah.
let's say rice, toothpaste, all of these, we kept it down so that it's easily reachable for the picker.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
These were small things that we did. And from a product perspective, we also did a lot of change where we said that
Mm-hmm.
hey, we have disabled cash on delivery, card on delivery option. We now only have contactless delivery, right? So all of this
Yes.
communication needs to go out to the customer so that they can charge for it, right?
Yep.
So again, I mean, these were the small things. I think we did some 50 features, I think, within the last 3 months to
Oh.
ensure that we are able to handle this growth. I mean, we were doing 1.2 lakh orders per day, and today we are doing close to 3 lakh orders per day, Shamik. So
Wow.
yeah, it's like more than double almost. So yeah, and I'll tell you why I moved to backend. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. So back in, I'll tell you, once this COVID hit us, right? I actually lead the product for customer service. Okay, when I was in front end team. So when I
Yeah.
was part of the product for customer service team, I had to work very closely with the operations, right? Because ultimately, when something goes wrong in operations, customers will call customer service that hey, I have still not received my order. Where is my order? Right? So your
Yep.
operations is very tightly coupled with customer service, right? So
Yeah.
because of that, I had to work very closely with the last mile delivery team. So just to quote few names, Divya and Narmada. So they had given me a lot of KT on how the last mile delivery works, and trust me, it's very interesting. Okay, the kind of problems that happen on ground, right? You cannot even imagine. Okay, so that
Can you share a few?
yeah, absolutely. So I'll tell you, we are expected, let's say, we have told the customer that within 5 to 7 p.m., your order is coming at, let's say, 6 p.m. Okay. So now
Yeah.
in the delivery app, the person, the delivery executive, he will have a sequence to follow. Correct? He will have to, let's say there are 10 orders in that route for him. Let's say my order was at let's say fifth sequence. Okay, that is the reason we told the customer that okay, it's coming to you at 6 p.m. Okay, now the thing is, let's say he was on the way, and for some reason he decided to skip that order. Okay, maybe there was a roadblock or whatever, right? So
Okay.
let's say he skipped that order and he moved to, let's say, from fourth to sixth order. Now what happens to that fifth customer? He is expecting that order will come at 5 at 6 p.m, right? But
Yeah.
now his order will maybe come at 7 p.m, right? So that is when the customer will call customer service saying that, hey, you told me it's coming at 6. Now where is my order? I have been waiting till 6:30. I don't get it. Right?
Yeah.
So these are the operational challenges, right? So there was no mistake from the delivery executive, right? Because he had some roadblock, some procession was going on, or some accident, whatever it is. So he had to skip that order. So these are the kind of challenges that happens on the ground. Okay, and it's really crazy. Sometimes the crates are missing. Okay, so let's say I have ordered 20 items, which are part of 3 crates. Okay, let's say there are like six and 8 items, and let's say one crate
Mhm.
is missing. Okay, maybe it went into some other biker's bag. Now the
Oh.
crate is missing.
Okay.
Right? So what do you do? I mean, the kind of challenges is just crazy. Now, how do you, as a product manager, ensure that these things don't happen, right? How do you, as a product manager, ensure that all 3 crates of that particular order is picked, right? So this is where a product manager will come in a picture, right? So
Wow. Like those are some of the scenarios which, like which are very eye opening. And
Yeah. I mean, you won't believe we actually introduced a screen in our delivery app. Okay. So, like you have the
oh,
customer facing app, you delivery executive, you might have seen Mintra people asking you to sign in their delivery app and all of that, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so Big Basket also has a delivery app, and we saw that okay, this crates issue was a very repetitive thing, and as I mean, from a human perspective, things will go wrong, right? You cannot always ensure that everything will work fine. So that is when you will bring in that process. You will bring in that feature where you will, let's say, ask the delivery executive to scan the product before leaving from the warehouse, right? To ensure that, okay, this
Okay,
order has 3 crates to it, ensure that all 3 crates are taken. Right?
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these are like some of the impacts, like which I think you working in backend right now, which these can create. Uh,
Oh yes, absolutely. So it's a beast altogether in itself. So backend is a very interesting is very interesting, I would say. So that's the reason I thought of moving
yeah.
to supply chain operations, and then I'll figure
Hmm.
out my love whether it's customer service or backend operations.
Sure. And I think customers are, so used to getting things right on time because of the innovation in tech all around that even a slight, disbalance, slight time change can make a customer angry. So,
Yes. Yes. I mean, you tell me, Shamik, let's say you were trying to book a cab and using Ola, they would have
yeah,
told 5 minutes. Okay. Let's say after 3 minutes, they tell you 10 minutes. What is your reaction?
I understand, especially when I was staying in Bangalore. Um,
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, operations has its own like set of problems, very challenging problems and very interesting problems, I would say.
Yes, absolutely, and that's where I think the real, the role of the product manager comes in to, solve all these issues with customer, with the product, with the business. So it's a very powerful role, in my
Yes.
opinion.
Very powerful, like trust me, so we just spoke about this Ola thing, right?
Yeah,
It was 5 minutes and let's say it became 10 minutes. Now of course you know how a customer is going to react. He's basically pissed off about it, right? So how can you communicate this in the best way, right? So that okay, you know that
yeah,
this is going to be an angry moment for him, but how do you put it in a very subtle way? Say that hey, we are really sorry, I mean, I mean, just be empathetic, right? Just being empathetic that
yeah.
works wonders, right? So, and I'll tell you many times in Big Basket, we have observed this, okay? So, just
Mhm.
being empathetic, right? It has reduced a lot of customer complaints, okay? So whenever there is heavy rain, generally
Yeah,
there are delays, right? So let's say there is some roadblock or anything could happen, right? So at those times, whenever we had to tell the customer that hey, we are not able to deliver within that committed time, we are slightly delayed. If at all, you can put out that reason, right? Saying that hey, due to heavy rains, we are trying our best to deliver within time, but please do apologize if we are slightly delayed. And that does wonders. Okay, your customer, trust me, he will be retained. Yeah, so that is the role of a
yeah.
product manager. You can influence the customer's behavior.
Correct. And to your point, like to reiterate your point,
Hmm.
empathy for the customer should be built into the design of the product.
Absolutely. Yes. That's why the role of a front end product manager is very important. I mean, operations can go for a toss anytime, but how do you handle that with a customer,
Yeah, how
right?
do you handle the angry customer? That's the
Yeah.
question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. So like, how is your like daily routine like in Big Basket? Like, what is the daily routine of a product manager like? Um, for the viewers who don't know about this role.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I would say you are going to enter a very different world. Okay. So, I mean, as a QA engineer, probably I used to get like 10 emails per day. okay, where maybe where I had to reply back maybe was like 5 emails, okay. So now, if at all you became a product manager, just multiply that into 5 or 6, okay. So, so you will be reading close to 50, 60 emails. Okay. So that is at I'm talking at a associate product manager level or product manager level. If you climb up the ladder, then though you are definitely gone. Okay. So because you are in PC for hundreds of emails for sure. So yeah, so the typical day usually begins with reading all the emails, right? So throughout the day, maybe 50 to 60 emails is what you will have to read, and of
Yeah.
course, I mean, you will have to understand it very, very properly because, I mean, depending on the communication of everyone else, right? Maybe some are very clear, very direct, some are very, very vague. Now you will have to call up that person and understand what he's trying to ask you, right? So that you give him the right answer. So
Yeah.
reading those 50, 60 emails, and you will have to write back to 30 emails at least. Okay. And yeah, so if you like writing emails, then trust me, you are going to love product management. Okay. So, and that too in emails, you have to be very, very careful, right? Because it's not like doing the
Mm.
talking face to face. There maybe you did not mean something in a wrong way, but in emails, the person might misunderstand it in a very bad way, right? So, and
Right.
all this has happened to me, Shamik. Okay, so I mean, I would say,
I'm
uh,
eager to know if you're willing to share.
I can share that. I mean, so this one story happened within the first 6 months of my product journey. Okay, so there was a QA. Okay, um, and maybe she had missed 2 3 test cases. Okay, so and because I come from a QA background, I generally expect the test cases to be very good. Okay, now what happened was those 2 test cases which were slightly fundamental in nature according to me. Okay, so I was like, okay, hey, I don't even see those 2 test cases here. Can you please add it? Okay, now the thing is, right, so I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely did not mean to offend or point out something. The point that I was trying to make is, hey, those are the 2 fundamental test cases we cannot afford to miss. I mean, do add it. Okay. Now the thing is, it was not her fault also because she was new to the system. Okay. But
Okay.
I did not think from her perspective, right? So I only thought from a product perspective and from a QA perspective and expecting things to be perfect. Right. So and trust me, this got escalated and all of that. Like, okay,
Oh
uh,
wow.
I mean, Bhavana is very dominant and all of that. I, you won't believe, but I have literally shed tears in office. Okay, saying that no,
Oh.
that's not what I meant. I am really sorry about it. I mean, I
Mm.
have written sorry over the emails. I have personally asked her sorry. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it is going to be a very different journey in product. So yeah, it's good. It's good to look back now. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the product manager, can't directly ask the engineers to do something, but they have to motivate the engineers, right,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
team.
That's
Uh,
the toughest thing to do ever in life.
yeah. So how do you do that? Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
rewards or
Oh yeah. So, okay, so this was one example. Okay, so eventually, how I changed my behavior was I was very, very empathetic in the emails. Okay, so
Mhm.
I was like, hey, could you please add those 2 test cases? Request you to please add those 2 test cases. So it's like literally. I mean. Um, I mean, I would say you have to be very, very kind. Okay. If you're kind, then you are a very good product manager. Okay. You can definitely make things work for you. Right. So, I mean, I'll give you one other example, Shamil. Okay. So let's say
Sure.
there was a bug. Okay. So
Okay.
you release the product, and let's say there was a bug in the system. Okay. Now the thing is, you are of course hurt because okay, maybe something is not working, so you're slightly sad. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, the natural tendency is to show it up on engineer or the QA. Like, how can you miss this? Or I mean, please fix it like very quickly and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like you have to be very, very kind there, okay? Because see, I mean, mistakes do happen, right? So
Yes.
we that's unavoidable. So I would say you have to be really, really kind, okay? And I'll tell you how it helps, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
maybe at that point of time, maybe that dev or QA might have missed. So you have to be kind then, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'll tell you how this will help later. And this also happened very, very recently. Okay. So there were some 150 rows in the database which had to be updated. Okay.
Okay.
So the stakeholder has told me, the product manager, to update the values from, let's say, 3 to 5. Okay. Now the thing is, I cannot. So there is no bulk upload option also. Okay, where I can
Oh,
just change all three
oh
to
no.
five. Okay. Now the thing is, I need help from engineers, right? Because I don't want to manually sit like
Yes.
it is going to take like 2 hours, and it's very very irritating.
You give it to the intern.
Yeah, yeah, but unfortunately, we don't have interns also, so
Oh,
I can't do that. So now that is when I would ask help from engineers, right? That
yeah.
hey, see, I really don't want to update this 150 rows. Can you please help me? Can you please update this in the database directly, right? Because for
Yeah.
that, it's like a 2 minutes job, writing that query and running it, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
eventually everything will come back, Shamik, right? If you are kind to them at one point of time, they will be kind to you at some other point of time. So
Yeah.
always be kind. That is what I would say. So that's
Yeah. On the point of writing emails,
yeah.
so I was talking to my product manager the other day, and he
Hmm.
said that like if you are really angry at someone, suppose at any other product manager or any engineer or anyone,
Uh,
so write an angry email and
yeah.
then save it to draft, and
Yeah.
then then send another proper email. So that will kind of help.
Oh, yes, yes. So whatever you just said, right? It's the same advice that I got from my head of product pages. Okay. So, and trust me, I've done this. Okay. I've written everything. I'm like, take out all the frustration. And then in the night, okay, should I send it or not? And then discard it and then write some calm email.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I think as a product manager, I think you will be tested to a very, very, like, to a lot extent, okay? To a very great extent, you will be tested for your patience and anger. So,
And I think that's part of the fun, like
yeah.
dealing with all these people, maintaining relationships with all these employees. So I think it makes the job surely more interesting than a regular daily job, uh,
Yes.
which are
Yes.
out there.
Yes. So that is key part of a product manager because see, as an engineer, maybe I interacted only with the PM and maybe only with my manager and maybe with the QA. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe for a given project, you will interact with let's say 3 to 4 people. Okay. But for a product manager, you are going to interact with at least like 10 people, at least, right? And you're supposed to
Oh,
be empathetic with all of them, right? And
yes.
and trust me, these skills will take you a long, long way. Okay, these are
Yeah.
your life skills. Okay, so if you want to be an entrepreneur in future, and if you have been a product manager now, trust me, it's going to be a very easy journey for you, right? Because you
Correct.
know how to deal with people, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
And
so that's the
yes,
part.
go on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like to add to that, I think communication is a very important aspect of the job. So,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. I was coming. I was coming to the second point. So first thing was the emails, right? That
Yeah, yeah.
read. 50, 60 emails, write back 30 emails and make sure that you're empathetic there. And coming to the second point, I would say, like you said, it is the communication part of it. So, as an engineer, maybe you will have maximum 1 or 2 hours of meeting, right? As a developer or a QA engineer, I'm saying. Of course,
Yeah.
if you're a TL or engineering manager, then of course you will also have a lot of meetings. But as a product manager, you
Yeah.
will have at least like 4 meetings every day. Okay. And
Oh.
that could vary from like 3 to 5 hours. Okay. So, and of course, if you, as you climb up the ladder, then 80% of your day is just meetings, right? Where you're taking some key decisions with the stakeholders, with your top management, right? So, I would say
Yep.
in your typical day, 50% of your day will be in meetings, right, where you are collaborating with people, and again communication is the key there, right? So when I mean communication, I would
Yeah.
like to add, as a product manager you are supposed to listen. I think you are supposed to listen 80% of the times. Okay, so when you're talking back, maybe it's only 20% that you're talking back, because
Mm-hmm.
in the meetings also, right, now the stakeholders will share their pain points, right? Now you are supposed to listen to all of them. You may not solve all of those. Okay, maybe they'll come up with the 10 problems. So of course you cannot solve all 10 together, right? So maybe
Yep.
you will solve the first three, the top three problems first, right? So
Yeah.
um, so when I talk about communication, I would say listen first, and that is very, very important, not just in product management, but everywhere. You first have to listen to the other person. Try to give
Yes.
it, try to give the other person 80% of the time to talk, and then absorb it and then talk back, right? Don't try to like jump into solutions as soon as they say one or two problems, right? Listen to the
Correct.
whole set of problems and then think about the solution. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. That's on point, Bhavna. Um, like, I just got reminded of one more book which I read, like How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
So, yeah, so that's, I think I would recommend it to the viewers who want to, improve their communication skills and how to deal with people, because that's one of the, I think that one of the most timeless books. Like, it was written like in the early 1900s, right?
Yes.
And
So yeah,
it's been a
plus
bestseller.
one to whatever you are recommending. And I read that book very, very recently, Shamik, and it has had a lot of influence on me, on how I could influence on others. And it's pretty tough actually to do that, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
absolutely.
a very good book. I would definitely recommend that for the viewers.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I would add one more book, okay, which kind of
yeah.
changed my life, which is Emotional Intelligence 2.0. So
Okay.
that is also pretty similar to influence, but maybe,
Mhm.
I mean, I would say influence into three is Emotional Intelligence 2.0. So yeah, it's a very good book, and I read that in the early stage of my product journey, and it has
Mhm.
definitely helped me a lot, I would say.
Yeah, and product managers should read a lot of books, right? Even I've seen in my office, like they're always reading something on Kindle or the other.
Yes, 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 absolutely. See, I'll tell you why it's important to read books, okay? Because there is no course which will tell you that okay, you are now a product manager, right? There is nothing like that. For example, if at all you have to be a data analyst, maybe there are 100 courses to teach you SQL, to teach
Yeah,
you some machine learning models or some R programming, right? So that's there. And similarly, for a developer, there are again 100 things that he can learn from the internet, right? Saying, okay, learn Java
yeah,
or whatever, Python, Golang, whatever. But for a
yeah.
product manager, there is nothing like that, right? So, so you will have to keep reading a lot of blogs, a lot of books, right? And LinkedIn has
Correct.
been very good for me in that too. That when you read all of those articles, right? So it gives you a very broader picture of how products are built, right? Where people share
Correct.
about their company's products and all, and how you can copy it. Like if you like something, then there's nothing wrong in copying it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel for everything,
Exactly.
right? So that's why
Yeah.
reading is very, very important for a product manager. To become a product manager, and even if you've become a product manager, you have to keep reading for a lot of time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And just before I conclude on that answer for how does a typical day look like, I would
Yeah.
say a lot of documentation work, Shamik, right? Because I'll tell you
Oh,
what happens in those meetings, right? So I told you there are like 3, 4 meetings every day, right? So now
yeah.
you will have to keep updating your product spec, right? Because
Correct.
decisions keep changing. Now we would have agreed on approach one, but now let's say we came up with some other problem because we encountered some problem because of that. Now you changed it to approach two. Now you will go and tell
Yeah.
this to the stakeholder. Now you get their approval. Again, you make some changes. Now, all of this needs to be documented, right? Because ultimately, in the end, a product manager will be questioned for whatever the product is, right? So you will need to have that
Correct.
that okay, hey, this is why we did something in this way, right? Maybe we went with approach one, but eventually we changed it to approach three, and this was
Yeah.
the reason why we changed it. So, because a product
Yeah.
manager is like he's the most accountable person, right? So,
Exactly.
like, be it a successful product or be it a failure, right? You are the one who is going to take that credit. So that's the reason you need to maintain all of that, right? All that documentation needs to be there somewhere, be it email or in Confluence or anywhere else.
Totally agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of paperwork, and also it's a lot of fun and
Mhm.
excite. It's a fun. It's a lot of fun and excitement in dealing with people and creating great products.
Oh yes,
Um,
yes, yeah. That whole journey is very, very interesting, right? So
yes.
you start with something, and then it becomes something else, and then finally, I mean, that whole product is so much mature. I mean, you will do a lot of brainstorming with your engineers, with your designers, with your stakeholders, and you are going to bring all of them together and build that product. So that satisfaction that you
Correct.
get when you launch a product, trust me, every such day is like okay, it's amazing, it's very fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
You feel that okay, I built this feature. Like if I build something in big basket, right, I come and show it to my mom that hey mom, look, this is something which I built, right? So it's very
Yeah.
fulfilling, I would say.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's a very exciting role.
Yeah.
So I'll just sum up what you the points that you suggested for those who are interested in pursuing the product management role. So firstly, it is it's a intersection of business, tech, and design. So we have to know about business, which will come over time, and which will come with dealing with customers and putting yourself in customer shoes and analyzing a lot of data. And apart from that, tech is very important. You have to know SQL, right, for data manipulations, and design. So design is something that will come once you start thinking in a design way, and that will come once you start reading books, which Bhavna suggested, like the design of everyday things by Don Norman, booked by Neil Ayal. And apart from that, communication is also one of the most important aspects of product management, because they have to influence people on a daily basis, and they can read the books which we talked about like 10 minutes back. Have I missed anything, Bhavna?
No, I think you pretty much covered everything. So just to give you a just to give heads up to some new folks. I mean, see analytics and all of that. Right? What I'm saying is just learn basic SQL, okay? Like basic select statement. Of course, you will have analytics team and all of them. They will be able to help you. Just try to know basic SQL. It will give you. It will definitely give you an edge over other candidates who don't know SQL. So that's what I would like to say, Shamik.